What's up, you guys? We back with another video, and today was a jam-packed week in the stock market. So the option plays performed pretty good. Um, so we're gonna get right into it. Like I said, this is gonna be like a me documenting this journey of really trying to master this game. I feel like anyone should be able to pull some money out the stock market, bro. Like we all busy, we all need another source of income, and the way prices and the economy and gas and all that, I think that this can benefit a lot of people. So let's get right into it. So this is obviously the plays from this past week. I don't want these videos to be too long. I kind of want it to be like an update, and we can grow from here. So I think a cool thing that you should always do is know what's performing in the market. So we can see that the technology sector and the energy sector are two sectors that has been performing pretty good so far this year. Uh, and then you just want to understand why. It's because AI. A lot of companies are trying to get behind AI and data centers. So what do you need to power a data center? You need that energy. So, and last week we talked about why I'm moving away from selling puts. And it's two different strategies, yes, but we can see a company like AMU has moved 240% this year, AMD 141% this year. It's like, man, how can you want to miss out on those potential gains, especially on the options play? Just imagine you did an options play on MU or AMD. I've seen people who are sending 1,000, 2,000% returns, which is like amazing. Imagine you had $10 and you had a 2,000% return on that alone. Just do the numbers. So what's performing this week or what performed this past week? We can see that energy was actually down. Infrastructure and software started to turn around. So we were in a ServiceNow play, and that's part of software. So that story is turning around. We can see that a these service businesses are actually needed. AI is not just going to disrupt it, and that's kind of why it was down so bad all year. We can see that well, they weren't down horrible, but a company like ServiceNow, like CRM, all these companies were down pretty bad. Um, you can see they started to recover, and then so yeah, we can see Walmart had a not so good week, and that's one of the players on our watch list. So it's good to know what's performing year to date and then what's performing in the past week. So maybe these might be opportunities to get some pullback buys and stuff like that. So we didn't exit any plays this week, but we did make a play on NVIDIA January 15th 240 call. And it's a couple things that I want to talk about. Well, it's one main thing that I want to talk about this play. You know that last week this was on our watch list. We can see rejection here at the 212 level. Every time it comes in this area, it has a nice little rejection. And so what is that? That's resistance. And then it finally broke resistance. It did struggle a little bit because you can see on this daily, it came to that area, but the sellers pushed it back down. But it finally broke through and it came right back. Usually resistance turns into support. And we can see that it had a bottom wick at this 212 area, and then not a strong bull candle, but it is a green candle, and that's why I was kind of waiting for it to fall through or continue to push to the upside with strong volume, but it didn't really do that. But on Friday we did enter into the play, but that is not how the candle looked when we entered to play, and that's something we can learn from. So let me go to the hourly. If you see the blue line here, that's at the time we entered the play on Friday. And what I seen was, like I said, it came to that 212 area. It's not always going to be perfect, but it did have a small doji indicating that that downside move was exhausted and it was probably going to push back to the upside. So it did struggle in key areas of resistance, like right here. It had a little wick, and then once it got to this 50 moving average on the hourly chart, it had a bunch of wicks showing that it couldn't really break through that moving average strongly. But at the end of the day, it did have a strong red candle. And so maybe the I should have paid more attention to how it moved right here. I should have paid attention to how it was rejecting that 50-day moving average. I was more so taking more heed into the daily chart, which is okay because daily has more data baked in, but the hourly, the smaller time frame is where you can kind of watch your entries take place and see where you want to get in at. So we could have got a much better entry. We could have waited Friday from this pullback and let that full daily candle take place and let it show some strength that it was ready to break this 50-day moving average. Was 50 moving average on the hourly chart. So that's the only play we entered. And then the plays we're currently in, like I said last time, that Robinhood play was part of me when I was doing the wheel strategy. So Robinhood turned around nicely. We're in the Meta, ServiceNow, and NVIDIA calls that I just showed. So Robinhood, Meta, and ServiceNow all had some good news this week. Robinhood announced that they'll be releasing some agent tools on their platform. You know, that's the thing. Companies are wanting to get involved with those AI agents. Let me move myself out the way. Companies are wanting to get involved with those AI agents. So Robinhood announced that you will be able to place trades with agents and also use their gold card to do things like tell your agent to watch out for this reservation, or if it's a concert ticket, hey, wait in line for me, and as soon as it's available, get that ticket for me. So that's pretty cool. And then Meta, they announced that they'll have like a plus subscription where users can pay anywhere from like $3 to all the way up to $20 for certain features. And that's real big because Meta is a company that has 3.5 billion regular users. I don't know if it's daily users, but 3.5 billion people use their one of their platforms regularly, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, or WhatsApp. So just imagine if they tapped into even 5% of their customer base with their product. So that can be another significant source of income. So Meta, I don't know, I don't think Meta had moved significantly on that news, but it did move. Um, so ServiceNow, like we say, seen on the heat map, that agentic AI, um, I'm sorry, software. A lot of people were down on software stocks this year. They thought it could be replaced with AI, but ServiceNow is a company that they've seen that's not the case. They're actually helping companies employ these agents and employ AI and help them save money in their business. So that's why it was a nice turnaround. We got a nice 66.2.4% gain this week, which nobody is mad at that. So let's keep moving on. And so this week's watch list, we're watching ANET heavily. I think I could have got a sharper entry on this one Friday opposed to the NVIDIA, but it's okay. We're gonna still watch out and see how it performs this week. Um, like I said, this 152 area is a key level for a net. Every time it comes to this area, it has a rejection. And then it came and broke through, but you see it struggled in that area again, showing that it takes heed to that area. Once it fell back down and fell to that area off the gap. So we can see that that 152 level is a very prominent area for a net. And so we've been watching it we're going to watch it this week. We've seen that once it came back to that area, it had bottom dojis. Every time in this area, it's just stagnant, which is showing that buyers and sellers are very active around this area. So we've seen it came to down to the hourly. Came down to that 152, had a bottom doji, is holding up that 50-day moving average. And I was just looking for really this strong volume was showing me that it was maybe time to enter that play, but I was told paying attention to this candlestick. It didn't show strong bullish movement because sellers actually pushed it back down a little bit. And if we can look on the weekly, same thing. It's holding up that 50 moving average. It had a bottom doji. Um, that's a pin bar technically. But anytime you see these lower wicks, that that signifies that the stock had moved all the way down to this area, and then the buyers pushed it back up to this is where it closed at. The buyers pushed it back up to close here. And we can see every time it came down, it did that same thing off the 50. So really, this would have been, if we were just trading off the weekly chart, that could have been a strong signal to get in. And so we'll just watch that this week. We don't force our entries, but we do want to be sharp with our entries. We don't got to be the first to the party. We just got to get to the party. So another stock we're watching this week is Walmart. We can see that Walmart takes heed to this 117 level. It was resistance here, resistance turned to support here, and we're looking for support here. Also, dynamic support. Like I said, it's not going to always be perfect. It did break down that 117 support, but the buyers pushed it right back up off that 200-day moving average. So we're going to watch how Walmart performs. Like we seen on the heat map, Walmart has been performing okay year to date, but last week it had a pullback. Um, com- and when they dropped their earnings, people were worried about if their margins was too thin and stuff like that. So that's why Walmart had kind of dropped, because these high gas prices. That's what affecting their business. So some of the lessons I learned is let that full candle take shape. Don't be in the rush for your entry. On NVIDIA, we got into play before the end of the day, and that full candle didn't form, causing us to um I wouldn't even say get into play early, but we wouldn't have gotten into play if we seen that candle how it fully formed. Let's go where the market is rewarding. But also it's good to have insight as well. So like on the ServiceNow play, the market has never been rewarding software stocks all year, but having some insight on why it's going to turn around. And like I said, I like to learn from people as well. So Troy from Earn Your Leisure caught that play out, and I just paid attention to his information, and I like the play. So we got into it too. Um, but it's good to have insight in and know why a stock is down. Like I said, understand how a company makes money and what a company does. So if it's not performing, you can see, okay, do I think this is the end of the road for that stock, or can it potentially have some type of turnaround? Is there a way that they'll be needed in the future? And so we can see that on Surface now how it turned around. So those were the plays this week, and that's how we did. We showed the watch list. So I'm excited to tap into this video again next Sunday and see what has performed. So I appreciate you for checking out the video, and I'll catch you next week.